welcome to another Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is BryanCPSteele, and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, we might be seeing a lot of new faces coming here, hopefully subscribing and spreading the word from all of my game industry pontificating and the like, because of some new audience that we are reaching out to. Because of that, for those of you who have been with me a long time, you know that I normally like to take the first, 10-15 minutes or so and talk about the week in Bryan. Basically go back and discuss the facets of my life and things I'm working on and just kind of a general checkup. Because we might have some new people coming out to this video specifically for the topic today, and I don't want them to be bored because they don't need to necessarily, I'd love it if they cared about me, but you never know. Sometimes people are like, boring video, click, 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 click. So we're going to put the week in Bryan at the end of this video, plus a little bit of extra cool information about some stuff that's coming up in the future. So we'll get to that in a minute. For now, let's actually just dive on in and talk about stuff with Warzone. So, it's been, if you were part of my live last week, if you were on the live episode, or if you've gone back and rewatched it, or watched it once, I guess, as the case may be, you know that I talked about the starting up of our retail store and the move. I touched a little bit on the move to the new material, the new process through Trenchworks for the snap trays, this new technology that they're doing to create an even better Warzone product that we were already doing. Well, these were all things that were leading up to the next phase in Warzone Eternal, the next part of this game's future, and you might be saying, wow, there's a lot all happening all at once. Well, part of that is because if you've been following us on socials or you're listening to anything we've had to say, is the Kickstarter, all of the everything that Alex and I had been doing for this game, for this Kickstarter, is stuff that we would want to happen for us as gamers. Because we're gamers, we back stuff, we buy things on Kickstarter. And, these are all things that, if I backed something and someone, made sure to keep us updated, no, I don't mind if you might sell it at a show, but I definitely don't want to hear that it's in retail before I receive my copies. And, there's just lots of things that we wanted to try and make sure that we did. And we wanted to make sure that you knew as backers and fans that we were doing everything we could to make this game as good as it is, the models as good as they are, and the process of getting it out to the fan base and the community as reliably as we could. What that meant is that there was a lot of effort put in to that part of the process. And while I had the benefit of being on the design side of things and making rules and orchestrating playtesters and running tournaments and planning new things, and Alex was doing a lot of the lion's share, the vast lion's share, the kaiju share of all the management. And if you've ever been in management, it's not fun. It's work. It's a lot of work. And on top of that, Alex is also a full-time lawyer. Like he's part of a law firm. So he was doing a lot all the time, every day. And it's a lot to handle. So the reason why we didn't do some of these things earlier, the reason why we didn't push real hard to get out extra units right out of the gate, is because Alex needed to be able to, we wanted to be able to have everything as done as possible before we start moving into the next stages of this game. And as the years moved on, and we got closer and closer and closer, and the last pallets are winging off to their various places, off to Games Quest, so they can ship it out to the various places in Europe where people are starting to get their things now. It symbolized the the end of the Kickstarter era. And while there is still one product that is remaining for us to ship out, it's almost done. It's just in layout, and then it's a PDF. It's not really a physical property, so it's just an email we have to send out to people. But apart from that, the Kickstarter itself is effectively done. And that, though we've known that it was coming for the last handful of months. And one of the things that we've always said is that once this Kickstarter is over, we don't want to do more Kickstarters if we can help it, but we want this game to continue. We want this game to we made a damn fine game. We're making damn fine miniatures, and the community has already started to like prop itself up and take care of each other and meet meet at conventions to throw private events for themselves and public tournaments that we have nothing to do with. And these are things that Alex and I beam about, that we absolutely we're over the moon that this stuff is happening. And all it does is add fuel to our fire that we want to make more. We want to make this game bigger. We want it to be able to sustain itself for the sales of these miniatures back into the next, get new fans, get new things, make new tournaments, go to new conventions. We want Warzone to be as big as we think it deserves to be. And as one of the things that we have learned over time is there are limits. There are limits to things you can do, whether it's monetary limits, capital, not the faction, the capital, the commercial investment that it takes to get into these things, the ability to market properly to stores, to set up, eventually possibly to set up into real distribution and things. These are just things that ResNova Games is effectively a one-man show that brought on a designer guy to help with the game, to make the game itself. And we became very close friends, and over the last 4 years, it has become a big part of both of our lives. And I am very fortunate that I am a full-time industry professional, have been for 20 years, 20 plus. Alex has this other job that, his day job, his full-time, all the time job. And so that means that there are things that Alex would love to be able to do, but just doesn't have the bandwidth to do. And a while ago, sometime last year, we got into the conversations and the wheels started moving and back and forth and plans and whatnot. And, fast forward where it became a possibility and a realization that not only could Warzone Eternal be that a name in game stores again, and conventions that are like, hey, are there going to be any Warzone events? We know that the game deserves it. We know that these miniatures deserve to have their time in the limelight again. And it became a possibility that we would be able to create something that's even bigger and badder and better. And in doing so, we got into conversations and a relationship. We were already acquaintances and friends with Bob Watts and his son Ian, and later on met Andy and Peter and Danny and other members of the Trans Atlantis Games family. And somewhere along the line, somewhere in the process, it became a very real possibility that this much larger company, the Trans Atlantis Games, is the owner and producer of the Duncan Rhodes's Too Thin Coats paint line. Which awesome paints. You're obviously, if you're a hobby painter, you probably know Duncan's name from GW fame. You probably know Bob Watts' name from GW and Heartbreaker, the original Mutant Chronicles stuff, from his stint at Privateer Press, which is funny because that's where I came from in the early 2000s. That's where I started as a privateer. So it's just there's a lot of really awesome talent and power of like focus on the concept of hobby and miniature gaming in this collective unit now. And somewhere along the lines, the conversation became, maybe ResNova joins up with Trans Atlantis and we make Warzone into the bigger, better thing that we think that it can be. And there's a lot of conversation. There was a lot of discussion. There was a lot of, is this something we can do? Is this something we should do? And the conversations going back and forth, and the discussions of where does this leave Alex and myself? I am just a contractor that goes that freelances my way through life, but I technically am contracted to ResNova. What does that mean? And so there was a lot of things that came up and conversations that needed to happen, and once we got everything lined up and squared away, the end result is an awesome partnership where Trans Atlantis Games has become kind of the parent of the Warzone Eternal project. Heroic Signatures, the licensor, the actual owner of the license, who we deal with, they're wonderful people. They're amazing people, and they've worked with Bob before, with hell back in the Heartbreaker days. We've obviously upheld our end of the Kickstarter, and so everybody seems to be happy about this whole process. And what we end up with is a creative team. So Alex and myself. Alex as the nominal creative director, basically the person who helps keep me in line when it comes to let's design the things. Because Warzone Eternal was his dream child. Like he knew what he wanted. He knew where he wanted it to be, and he's the one that has kind of kept me going in the right path as the lead designer. And I'm staying on as the lead designer, and I run the playtest team. I'm probably going to do a lot more stuff on social media. My relationship with Trans Atlantis Games is going to become much larger going forward, in the future. Right now, our relationship is basically Bob and the Trans Atlantis family are facilitating and helping manage the aspects of Warzone Eternal that Alex and I might struggle with. In the case, with some of the management type things, the getting them out to, obviously through the super successful Tooth and Coats line, Bob and Tag. If you hear me say Tag, it's Trans Atlantis Games. That's there's Tag. Bob and Tag have done an amazing job of setting up a retail footprint and stores that carry his things and convention appearances and all these things that Alex and I would have a really, really difficult time doing on our own. So Trans Atlantis is going to give us a great opportunity to extend that footprint, and in doing so, allow us the bandwidth and the resources and the market expertise that Bob comes with, and Peter comes with, and hell, Andy and everybody on the team, they all bring something to the table that will just help us create more Warzone Eternal in a faster sense than what we would be able to do on our own, and also get more eyes on it, get it into more stores, get it out in front of people in a way that would have been a little too, we learned very early on as things started to happen, and as the retailers started to get their retail backing stuff from the Kickstarter, and as they started opening their packages, and we would start getting emails from stores that go, cool, I got my stuff, I sold my stuff, when can I buy more? It became way too clear to us that this game can be big. And one of the limiting factors of it being big is that ResNova, as a partnership, but as us, as basically Alex and then a couple of hanger-ons like myself, its growth is limited in the fact that it's kind of Alex uses the term boutique game company, basically a little small ma and pa, except no ma, pa and pa. Just a little game company creating this really cool game where now people all over the world, literally, it is multiple continents, multiple nations, that want more, and they want more fast, and they want more now, and they want more reliably. And what that does is that it shows us that we've made a damn fine game, and awesome products, and the community is ready to see that next part of Warzone's future. And as we got to the end of the Kickstarter, we started making plans on when should we start releasing new units, because we've got a bunch of them done, a bunch of them ready, a bunch of them through playtest. When do we hire a studio painter to paint the one that's going to go on the website, or on the box, or when do I have to when do I have to write up the lore document and the tactics document that's going to go onto the website? Where do we put the website? There's just a lot of questions that came up that was like, okay, we could do this, but it's going to be a lot of work, and that means that we've got to pump the brakes a bit, because anything to avoid going back into the Kickstarter cycle of the game requiring kickstarting to go to the next thing, and it's just too much of a headache, and it's not. That's not the sign of success. That's a hamster wheel. A sign of success is a game that might use a Kickstarter, or a product that uses a Kickstarter to get up and running, but then once it's going, that it has its own gas, and it has its own fan base, and it has its own stuff moving forward. And we really did. It started to really kind of appear to us that Warzone could do that. Warzone can absolutely make its own way and make its own name. The industry is ready for a good hobby skirmish game. There's room for them, and combination of nostalgia factor on players who've played this for 30 years, and I'm trying to leave. I want my hubris to be the other side of that door, and try to stay as humble as I can, because I don't like talking about me. But we made a damn good rule set, and the number of people at shows or at tournaments or at demo days that they play the game and they start sitting and going, oh, so if I do this, and they start seeing the tactics, and they start putting the wheels together to figure out what we've done with these rule sets, and oh, if I take that character, oh, he's got a special rule that does a thing. Okay. The more that we see that, and the more that we saw that, and the more that people go, oh, hey, what about this unit? Or, is there going to be more of this in the future? As they start sort of wondering and theorizing what's coming, and, older fans go, I can't wait till this unit or that unit shows up. And it really, it revealed itself to us as a big deal. Warzone can be a very big game. I haven't felt this way about a game that I've created, or that I was part of the ground floor to see the potential rise since War Machine Prime back in 2003. I'm getting the same kind of vibes from the community. I'm getting the same kind of vibes at shows when people do a demo and immediately go, okay, well, how much is a starter? These are conversations that I used to have as a wee gamer working for Privateer back in 2003, 2004, when we were just starting War Machine. And I'm getting a lot of that same feel and a lot of that same rush from showing new people Warzone and seeing people talk about stuff online, or seeing news articles talking about, hey, Warzone Eternal retail shop is now opened through Trenchworks. Just this this sense of, we know that this game can be big, and through this partnership with Trans Atlantis, through their ability to get it out to bigger audiences, to create products that Alex and I would have definitely had to farm out to someone else and been like, hey, please just make sure that you tell people what it's for. Trans Atlantis will be able to actually set up these arrangements and make legitimate products that are like legitimate products out of this, rather than just an arrangement we made with a company that said, hey, high five, glad you can make this, just tell people that we sent you. Like, obviously, this has already come up on the Discord after the press release, but it's almost a foregone conclusion that there will be Tooth and Coat's paint support for Warzone. Figuring out what a good series of paints would be to paint the Capital Faction box and make a Capital Faction paint set. I've got ideas written down for products that would have been not impossible, but far, far more difficult while we were still trying to run things like a boutique game company. And now that we're in with Tag, who can facilitate those relationships and create these products that we know will be great. Possibly, again, I don't want to, I'm not quoting, don't quote me and say this is definitely a thing, but Tooth and Coats goes through Asmodee, it goes through distribution. We never were able to even think about coming up with the numbers big enough to do distribution sales. But that's one of the ways that you make it big as a game, is to get one of the big distributors to send you out with their stuff. And there's just no downside. I know there's people that have asked, what does that mean for you and Alex? Well, for me, it just means I now have more. I'm still the lead designer. I'm still running the playtest crew. The what we're creating and the actual bits and bobs and stuff still comes out of my files to go into the next files to go into refinement and whatnot. When it comes to Alex gets to focus on the creative side of things. He gets to work with me and go, hey, all right, so there's a unit I really, really, really want to make. How do we want to do this? I've got an idea. Let's refine that down. Whereas before, he was so super focused just on getting the shipping taken care of and getting the customs and getting that and making sure that the casters are taken care of and the sculpts are done. And there's just a lot of those little things that all add up that were taking him away from the creative aspect of making this game. That was his goal in the very beginning, is just to bring life back to this game, and he has succeeded. Warzone is back with Warzone Eternal, and we have no intention of it going anywhere. I have upwards of 100+ units already designed that need playtesting and whatnot, and there's more to come. We have our Eternal Champions tournament at Adepticon every year, where someone gets to pick a unit out of the last 30 years in Mutant Chronicles and help us realize it in game. We have just, there's so much room to grow and make cool things. And eventually, maybe we do come up with that escalation book that lets you play a slightly larger game and get away from skirmishers. That we can introduce some of those new, possibly plastic kits that on our own, there's no way that we could have afforded to do that without, again, sacrificing something else. This is simply a good move. And, Alex's love of the lore and the universe and my love of I also love the lore of the universe, obviously, but my desire to bring things to the tabletop in new and interesting ways, combined with Bob's knowledge of the knowledge of the universe as well. I mean, he's been with Warzone since the beginning, or he was at Warzone at the beginning, but also with his knowledge of the industry and knowing how to make things work on a business level. His son has been working with him for 13 years, making all of this come together. Andy ran multiple successful crowdfunding campaigns. He understands marketing. He understands how that functions. Peter is our European, specifically he's from the UK, but he's our connection over there to help facilitate having someone on that side of the pond. We have a very strong fan base over there. We're gonna need people we're gonna need someone who understands that area of the world and the ins and outs a little better than I do to help make that footprint grow over there. We've got people where we've got shows that we're going all over the place, and now with Trans Atlantis behind the wheel, so to speak, or in the engine, because Alex and I are behind the wheel. We're still making this game. We're still making those decisions. We're still making sure that the game going forward is designed the way that we've thought about how this game needs to go. Like, that's one of the things that Bob said going right at the very beginning of these meetings, is he did not want to come in and be like, haha, I have now taken Warzone from you. It's now mine. I don't know why he's Skeletor all of a sudden. But what he wanted to do is help us make the game as good and as big as it should be, using the momentum that we've started, using the roadmap that Alex and I kind of had already built. Just makes a little, we built this roadmap of what we wanted to do and where like the design philosophy falls into place, and the kind of the aesthetic purposes and things that we wanted to make sure don't get just shoehorned into Warzone Eternal because that's fun. There's reasons for all the things that we create, and there's reasons for why they get worded the way they are, and there's a design mythos that Bob was very specific about. No, you and Alex are still in charge of that. That is, we successfully brought this game back from the dead, and there's a reason for that. And Bob does not want to come in and step on that reason and be like, I've got a different reason. He wants to give us the ability to expand and create and use that roadmap, have it drive a faster car on that roadmap. And in doing so, it obviously, from a business standpoint, it's going to make everybody a little more money. It's going to be more successful. But it also allows him to go back to a beloved thing for him. And, that same reason why Alex wanted to bring this game back years ago from the dead and succeeded, Bob now wants to be like, all right, cool, you guys succeeded, let's make it more. Let's make it more successful. And it allows him to enjoy, literally 30 years ago, he helped make this back when he was with Heartbreaker. The original Warzone, Big Bob Watts, who, by the way, is not a heavy machine gun toting black man like he is in the game. He's just an old white dude like me, but amazing guy. I love him to death. And at one of these days, I'm going to ask him how he turned into the Big Bob Watts on the page. But we'll get to that in the future. But either way, this is effectively his baby that graduated, moved on, went away, and then came back, and now he has the opportunity to help see it succeed and grow and get bigger again. And at the same time, everybody, the community wins. They get more stuff, cooler stuff, and more access to a bigger and better community. The retailers win because they're getting to sell cool stuff to that community. Alex and I win because we get to keep making an amazing game and see people excited about it. The players win because they get this game. And Bob and Ian and Trans Atlantis wins because they're now part of the next. They're the leading the force behind this next amazing chapter in Warzone's future. It's an amazing time for the game, and I can't wait to be able to tell you more about what it's going to mean and new products coming forward. Right now, we're already enjoying the benefits of Trenchworks coming up with their snap tray technology that is doing the 3D printed resin unit trays that they are now selling on their web store for us. And I believe we've already talked about it. We are ready to release new units soon. We just got to get through this initial sort of transfer transatlantic moment kind of thing. But the playtesters are hard at playtest. I'm cracking that whip. Alex is looking at a particular aspect of the rules that now he has time to do so. So we can clean that up to something that is more akin to what he kind of envisioned, but still uses kind of the baseline of the rules that I built for them. And then we'll get it to the playtesters and get it refined, and he still gets to work with artists and sculptors and whatnot to help bring this kind of new concept aesthetic to life. And again, like I said, this is just an all-around amazing time for Warzone, and I am so unbelievably fortunate to be one of the people driving, to be named the lead designer and to be kind of the guy whose ink is being put to the page before and obviously it always needs cleaned up and refinement and stuff. Nothing is ever perfect out of the gate, but I'm unbelievably fortunate and extremely honored to get the opportunity to push Warzone even beyond what Alex and I had originally thought was going to be possible. And that's going to be through the resources and the awesomeness of Bob, Ian, and Andy, Peter, and the crew over at Trans Atlantis. So I hope that you'll pop over to Trenchworks and take a look at the new snap tray stuff on their website, and maybe buy some stuff and take a look at things, and go to our Discord channel, go to our Facebook group, and get more interested, get more connected, and realize that the Kickstarter wave is over, or very, very, very close to, as soon as we get Graviton Protocol out. And from here on out, it's just new stuff going forward. It's new, cool, amazing things. And new, amazing things are definitely coming. So I'll obviously tell you more about that when I can. So if you were just here for the Warzone the Warzone chat, that's the news. That's what I got. And you can go ahead and leave me here. You don't need to talk to me anymore. But if you like me and you want to stick around and hear some stuff, now we will jump into the week in Bryan. Bum, 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 after I take a sip of my stuff. So, the week in Bryan, personal-wise, things are great. My kid has the homecoming dance at his girlfriend's high school. They go to separate schools this weekend, so we got to get him a suit and get him all dolled up, and it's his first big dance. So I'm excited to see pictures and things. Natalie is actually an alumni to that school, so we're gonna go to the homecoming game on. I guess when this comes out tonight, we're gonna go to the homecoming game and go cheer on as alumni and husband of alumni, and then just a lot of work ahead of me, because I have on technically that would be a work thing, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But just I have a lot going on. A lot of the gym is doing well. I'm feeling good. I am busy. I'm stressed. There's a lot going on. And part of that is because next week is Natalie's hopefully final disability hearing for the state of Indiana. For the people who don't know, my wife has a degenerative nerve disease called myasthenia gravis. She's had it her whole life, and it has some tricky issues to it here and there. But one of the things that it does have is it has she has seizures, and then she has they're called myasthenic attacks or myasthenic crises that are a lot like seizures. And it causes a lot of muscle fatigue and eye fatigue, and there's a lot of stuff that happens. And one of the side effects is she can't be on her feet for very long. She can't stare at a screen for too long. There's just a lot. And for the last 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years, she has not been able to work longer than a couple hours at a time, part-time here and there. So we have been fighting the state of Indiana to get her on disability because her disease is a federally protected disability. Well, there's been ups and downs and neurologists and work experts and court hearings, and it's been a lot. But next week is hopefully the final court hearing. And so keep your fingers crossed. Keep us in your thoughts. If you are a believer in magic and juju, throw your prayers, sacrifice your chickens. I do not care where it comes from. Any kind of positive outcome next week in this hearing would be beneficial to our collective situations and would ease a lot of stress off of me and her and our family and everything. So. Keep us in your thoughts, and I'll let you know how things go. That was personal stuff. Hobby stuff, I have done almost nothing. I'm getting ready for a convention next week and a convention 2 weeks after that, so I have not really had a chance to get over there and do a lot of painting, although I do have to at least slap together the paint on the baddies for one of my adventures I'm running at the end of the month at Gamehole. But apart from that, I really wanted to get my charity piece, my auction piece done for Gamehole. I just didn't have the time. I've got too many plates spinning, and I just did not have the time to put the effort that I wanted to into it. So it sits over there mocking me, primed, waiting for paint. And it sounds like it's going to probably have to wait until the spring and be part of the GaryCon charity auction. We'll see. Makes me sad, but it is what it is. Gaming-wise, so I've been running some Intergalactic Heroes for my coworkers as a playtest of a session that I'm going to be running at Gamehole. I'm learning a lot about little things, a couple of optional scenes and scenarios. There's a lot of wheel spinning and conversation and kibitzing that happens in these play sessions. Also, because it's not in person, there's a lot of, okay, I've said a thing and now I'm waiting for you to respond. Okay. You guys want to do anything? There's a lot of, because you're not sitting at the table having body language and talking to each other like you would at a convention. There's a lot of wasted time of just sort of waiting for someone to speak. So I think it's going to go well. I'm very confident that that's going to go well. Let's see, what else? Playing a lot of Helldivers 2. A lot of Helldivers 2. And played in a playtest session for Strange Hollow last week, and that was just fun. It's the end of a chapter in his ongoing playtest story. Because of all the conventions and things in October, we have to sort of take a break because I'm not going to be there for most of those games. But that's really all the gaming that I've done. Played a little Magic, I'm in kind of crunch mode in October to get things done because, as I'm about to unveil, work. Started putting good words back to the Shadowrun novel again. Feeling good about that. I wish I had more time to just sit and smash through, but there's just too many things and bills to pay and whatnot, so I've had to do a lot of side stuff. Working on a bunch of lore documents for Warzone Eternal, working on some new product stuff for Warzone Eternal. I put a few things into the Infinite Stories database, but I haven't had the time to really do a deep dive, so it's just a little bit. Signed on to do a little Shadow Dark conversion for a friend of Luke Gygax reached out and was like, hey, you still do Shadow Dark conversion stuff? And I was like, yeah, I can. He hooked me up with a friend of his and so forth and so on. So I'm going to be doing some Shadow Dark conversion soon. And work on the Thundercats role-playing game continues. In fact, I just uploaded the rules on how to play a Tuska today. I have a lot. And then on top of all this, I've got actual design stuff for Intergalactic Heroes too. There's just I have a lot going on, and I look forward to a time where I can ease back on some of these things. But again, a lot of the things that I sign up to do, A, because I need to pay the bills, but also because I just really enjoy them. I get this opportunity to make this really cool thing. I look at it and go, man, I don't know if I've got the time, but it's so cool. I want to be able to do that. So I jump on, and this is how I get overworked and overbooked. But hopefully, with the added responsibilities over at Trans Atlantis for Warzone, I might be able to give myself a little more breathing room on some other projects. And once I start ticking off some of these extra things and get them off my plate, that maybe I'll be able to focus more on just like the 2 or 3 projects that make me go. But we'll see. We'll see what the future entails. I would be nothing if I wasn't always overworked and always professionally nerding. Speaking of, so next week there will not be an episode. October's going to be weird because you're only going to get 2 episodes, and they're going to be on the off weeks, because next week I'm going to be out at the Las Vegas Open for Trans Atlantis. I'm going to be there showing people Warzone for the first time. For a bunch of West Coasters, they're going to get to see Warzone models in person, have the opportunity to buy stuff from Trans Atlantis from us directly. So if you're going to be at LVO, or if you're going to be in the area, swing on by. Let's enjoy a quick game so you can find out what all the hype is all about. Then I come home. I will do an episode in 2 weeks, give you a little bit of a checkup, tell you about some cool things, tell you how LVO is going, and then also get you ready for the following week, because I'll be at Gamehole Con the week after, my favorite convention, where Alex takes really, really good care of us as special guests, and I'm going to be running a bunch of cool stuff, some D&D, some Intergalactic Heroes, and doing a bunch of panels. I love that show to death, and I can't express how well it is run. It is easily one of the best run conventions that I've ever been to. And that's pretty much my October. So yeah, my October is going to be a smash of stuff. But I will still be here to tell you how things go. I will always be talking in the comments. So please make sure you leave comments. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And on top of all that, please just, be safe and wash your hands, get your shots, wear a mask in places you have to. Don't believe all of the idiotic things that are coming out of my government. And just, try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there. And I think we'll be okay. Until next time, 2 weeks, please be safe, have fun, and play some games. Because I'm gonna. Bye, guys.